cryptocurrency for beginners, what it really is, and why it is not what you think it is. I don't think that's what you think it is. There's a lot of overwhelming complexity around blockchain, and it's being used increasingly for more and more things because blockchain is the basis of web3. What web3 is built on blockchain. So the reason why the Ethereum update is important, it has to do with layer 2 blockchain. There's the regular blockchain and what that is. And then to make it more useful, you can build stuff on top of it. Layer 2 blockchain, they're scaling solutions. They allow you to do more and do things faster. And the update that Ethereum just completed makes it so that you can do more things faster and cheaper because there are fees associated with blockchain transactions. Which is like, well, we already have a financial system that's like where the speed can be variable and is subject to fees. So why this new one? I'll tell you later. Blockchain is slow. And that's because it's a data ledger where every transaction that is logged has to be distributed amongst all the nodes that make it an immutable, indestructible, permanent ledger. So you have all these computers, the data, and every time a transaction is processed, it has to distribute throughout that entire network. So if it's very, very decentralized and you have a lot of people doing transactions, it's going to be slow. And so that's Bitcoin, basically. It's slow, it's linear, and then there's a thing called the Lightning Network that is built on blockchain to make transactions faster, and that's a layer 2 scaling solution. It makes it so more people can use blockchain, or more people can use Bitcoin faster. There are different consensus mechanisms in cryptocurrency, and the consensus mechanism is like how all these nodes decide, like, this is the transaction that we're logging, and we're all going to agree that that's valid. With original blockchain, Bitcoin, it's based on proof of work. So you have all this cryptography and you have computers brute force guessing these elaborate cryptographic codes. And once a computer guesses the right thing, that computer wins the right to write data to that block and to place it on the blockchain. And so that's called proof of work, where like it's just like brute force guessing the right code. Then you can write whatever you want on this slab of the blockchain. There are other consensus mechanisms, and I'm not going to get into those in this video. And the other ones make it a little less decentralized, which is supposed to be why blockchain is so good, that it's decentralized. So it means all these computers hold the data. It's incorruptible. You have to destroy all the computers to destroy the blockchain. Layer 2 solution. So you have these transactions being logged on the main blockchain, and then you have things built on top of that. They'll function like a blockchain and log transactions, but then they'll take all of those transactions and condense them down into one transaction on the blockchain. So that's layer 2. And that particular example is a roll-up. So we'll take all these transactions, but we won't log each and every one on the blockchain because that would be really slow. It'd make the whole network slower, because they all have to be pinged to all the nodes of the network, all the computers that are the blockchain. It all has to go linearly. So we're going to do all these transactions over here, and then we're going to package them and we're going to put it on the blockchain. So in that way, that makes it less decentralized, because where's that data going? Like, someone handles that data. And a part of the premise of blockchain is that everything is public. You can see everything anybody can see everything that's happening, and it's also immutable. It can't be changed. But you have these other little transactions being rolled up, and so that's what layer 2 is. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense to me. So there are other versions of layer 2 scaling solutions for blockchain. Side chains, that's a completely separate blockchain. It's independent from the main net, which is like the main blockchain. That's referred to as the main net. The Ethereum update was like a main net update. A side chain is like an independent chain that every once in a while it checks in with the blockchain and it like updates what's been going on with the side chain. It plunks an update on the main net, the main blockchain, the level 1. It's a side chain because it doesn't get any of the security features of the main blockchain. It's like an independent blockchain, but at the end of the day, it logs its activities onto the main blockchain. One version of a layer 2 thing is a smart contract. And this is how the whole world is going to try to run on smart contracts. So that's code that you design. It could be like a program or a series of functions or an actual contract. It's committing an action onto the blockchain so that you cannot change it. And I know you're here because you want cryptocurrency for beginners, but blockchain is what cryptocurrency is based on. So if you don't have a blockchain, then you don't have cryptocurrency. And a lot of cryptocurrency besides Bitcoin is based on layer 2 scaling solutions. Ethereum is a level 1 blockchain, but there are lots of other... Anyway, no blockchain, no cryptocurrency. So how do we get to currency? I'll get there. Stay with me. Why blockchain anyway? So if it's so complicated and so slow, and it takes all this extra work to make it fast so you can do stuff with it, and we already are doing stuff with things anyway, like before, like without blockchain, what's the point? The main public relations line about blockchain is that it's decentralized. A term that's used a lot is like it's censorship proof. It's a little bit like, it's now called X, but Twitter X. It's a little bit like that, where like once you post it, you can't edit it. And it's different from that in that once you publish it, like commit it to the blockchain, you can't edit it and you can't delete it. And it's because it's decentralized. Like all these other computers are being stewards of the data individually. And you can also see what's going on the blockchain. Anyone can see what's going on. Unless it's in a layer 2 roll up or it's a part of a smart contract, then those have controls that can be more centralized. So blockchain, it's decentralized. And stay with me, cryptocurrency is of the blockchain. The advantage that is sold around cryptocurrency is that it's decentralized. So no one can control the money, except a lot of these monies are controlled because they have layer 2 things going on, and many L1 blockchains are subject to centralization. Ethereum, for instance, it no longer uses the proof of work mechanism of like just hardcore computing to generate blocks of data that are available. It uses a proof of stake consensus mechanism where basically the people with the most tokens, they risk their tokens being burned up to verify that transactions are correct. So that's a form of centralization. Much less decentralized. And in blockchain development, they talk about how decentralization versus user experience are inversely related. So you want a better user experience, it has to be more centralized. You only get decentralized if you want a crappy user experience that's slow and expensive. So that's interesting. Mostly sold as decentralized, but if you want to do the really cool stuff, that's going to be more centralized. So then why? If decentralization is what is sold as like the main advantage, but in order to have like these rich user experiences upon which web3 is built, and web3 is it's blockchain based web. If you see web3, that's what they're talking about. It's built upon the blockchain or a blockchain. Then why? There's a saying in the blockchain world, code is law. Code is law. Blockchain at its very essence is an immutable ledger. So the reason to use blockchain is not so much that it's decentralized. You can do that. And that's like a very appealing public relations front-facing advantage that then you can say it's like censorship resistant and tamper resistant, which it absolutely can be. The main advantage of blockchain is that it's permanent. It is an immutable ledger. So you put a smart contract on there, that's not changing. You are locked in forever. So what's up with that? Why do we want it to be permanent? The main advantage is transparency. Like we want to be able to see what's going on with all these like secretive cabals. However, the transparency is going to be for you. It's not going to be so much for big power structures. There are going to be decentralized autonomous organizations, but those can be programmed. It's this combination of like, yes, you can see everything, but the foundation can have things hidden in it. The main thing about blockchain is that it is an immutable ledger. So any cryptocurrency that you're trading, it's going on an immutable ledger, unless it like is subject to some layer 2 thing and it's faster and cheaper, and then that's probably like bundled in some sort of smart contract layer 2 solution that may or may not be visible, maybe like verified in a number of ways according to what the consensus mechanism is. So this gets funny already. Cryptocurrency, it's decentralized and thus free, and it gives you like, you don't have to be subject to powers. However, blockchain, it's a chain. It's a chain. The way it's going to be used will make you subject to powers. So Blockchain is an immutable ledger. Blockchain is not designed to be fast. It's slow. It's linear and slow. But that's decentralized and completely transparent. The things that make it faster and give it the ability to be more complicated, make it less, make it more opaque and more centralized. So a dApp, a decentralized app, is not necessarily going to be all that decentralized. So where does the money come in? Why is it money? Everything is logged on the blockchain and you get tokens. These tokens are like data that is written, or like ability to write certain types of data. And when you have the more complicated smart contract style of blockchain, that's like, I have a token that I can use for just certain things. Like if I have Bitcoin, a piece of Bitcoin, I can write that data however I please. If I have a token generated from a smart contract according to a good behavior or a skill, I can only use that token in certain instances. I can't use that token to buy jewelry or a fancy dinner necessarily, unless like my fancy dinner restaurant accepts my Python engineering skill badge or my emotional connectedness behavioral badge. So tokens represent ability to write data to the blockchain, or they represent data that has already been written to the blockchain. For instance, a non-fungible token, NFT, which you might think is dead, but is not. Fungible means that it's identical to other tokens. So Bitcoin are fungible tokens. A non-fungible token is a unique token. Artists were selling JPEGs. That moves to in-game items. And it's also your digital ID is a non-fungible token. And the deed to your house or your car can be a non-fungible token. That's a form of smart contract. It's permanent. You own this thing. It was tested by like, oh, you own this JPEG. But in the future, instead of having like a document with watermarks, it's an NFT and it's the near future. So cryptocurrency are these tokens, and a lot of them right now, they're non-fungible. They're just money that can be exchanged. We have this like exchange market, but they don't have to be like, instead of $1, you can spend anywhere that accepts dollars. Instead, a blockchain token doesn't have to be like cryptocurrency money that you can spend wherever it's accepted. It can be a sticker that like, you're just allowed to wear this sticker on your shirt, and this sticker can get you into this party or this luxury apartment complex or this library or this concert. This sticker signifies something I've done or earned somehow or have the right to. Me coming and going from the place that the sticker gets me access, whether that's online or IRL, can be tracked. And that's a form of token. So blockchain is creating this world of token signaling, and it's creating it on a permanent ledger. So there are all these different levels of like, what's transparent and what's private, and how much something is centralized or decentralized. And layer 2 blockchain, layer 2 scaling solutions for blockchain are the heart of this complexity and token signaling future. So Ethereum, which is like the most popular, the most widely used coin outside of Bitcoin, the reason it's so widely used is because a lot of people can program things on top of it. This whole world of like different tokens or like logging your skills on blockchain, your permanent certificate that you got your continuing education credits on blockchain. It's immutable. No one can delete it. But also like, maybe your criminal record. Everything is permanent forever as long as blockchains are alive. Cryptocurrency inures you to this reality of like everything being logged on the ledger. It's a mass surveillance technology. It can do a lot of good things, obviously, but this is cryptocurrency for beginners. So as a beginner, you should understand what the technology is and its context in our world and what's coming. So a lot of the use cases for blockchain include DeFi, decentralized finance, which doesn't have to be all that decentralized. It can be very centralized still and still be on blockchain being logged permanently, because that's the main advantage. not the decentralization, although the decentralization is advertised as the main advantage. Gaming, video games, metaverse stuff, and NFTs, digital goods. Blockchain is about the ownership and transfer of digital assets. In the future, in the metaverse, everything will be a transaction. Every interaction, every connection is a form of transaction. So when we live in the metaverse, and we already do, because the metaverse is social media. So decentralized finance, gaming, and NFTs are not separate things. They're all components of the metaverse. And the metaverse is just, according to people who work in blockchain, their definition of metaverse is a collection of web3 protocols and technologies that come together so that people can work towards a goal. Humans have been working towards goals without blockchain forever, but the advantage is that blockchain creates an immutable, a permanent ledger that can be publicly viewed. So with let's get you okay with getting all your data logged all the time permanently on blockchain. We can make a thing so that it's verifiably private. But in this world, if you need any sort of assistance or approval for something, you're going to be compelled to show parts of your data for whatever reason. There are a lot of good reasons to log things permanently, and then there are a lot of reasons, obviously, that could be taken advantage of. I'm not here to say the sky is falling, let's stop this. I'm just saying this is what it is. In the same way, as if it were the 1950s and I was yelling about how TV is going to rot your brain. This is coming. We're going to live in the world as smart people with TVs. We're going to live in the world as free people with blockchain. Some less free than others. Some with the television more brain rotted than others. In the future, video game and the government are not separate things. Remember, amongst blockchain developers, code is law. And in the metaverse, everything is a transaction. And you can see that right now with social media, where I like this thing, it's a transaction. I chat with this person, that's a transaction. I change my profile picture, that's a transaction. All these things in a metaverse built on blockchain will be logged permanently, and then they can be looked at and used on various data dashboards, or as your digital twin, for instance. Everybody has a digital twin, and it's all the data that has been logged about a person or being to create an algorithmic model that can then be manipulated or not. There's also a model of the influences that surround it, and those influences can be manipulated or not, so as to change the direction of the digital twin of the thing whose behavior. Is this making sense? Do you understand what cryptocurrency is now? It's tokens of various kinds. It could be a token in the way a dollar bill is a token that could be used anywhere, that's widely accepted. Or it could be a token in the way that a sticker in elementary school is a token, you got good behavior. Hopefully that makes sense. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. So further, everything is logged on the blockchain. Why? Why do we need a permanent record of everything? I mean, it's partially, I guess, to control stuff. So you can see what's going on forever, put it into an AI dashboard, get projections, do predictive policing, or understand what's going on to happen in the future based on what has happened in the past, financial markets. All of these tokens and different types of transactions being logged permanently can also be vacuumed up by AI to teach AI and create a singularity. And by singularity, I don't mean conscious machine. I mean our consciousness as the sensing mechanism. Super intelligences of the future can produce more and more lifelike information because it's coming from the sensing network that is us. So a distributed sensing network of all humans, our feelings, our behaviors, our monetary transactions, what we journaled in our online journal, everything being logged permanently makes super intelligences more lifelike. And strings can be pulled to move things in a certain direction if you're at the helm of such a big dashboard. Again, I'm not saying this to be stop this, because it's happening. Just like digital IDs are happening. There is no debate. I know that sometimes something comes up in the news that's like, oh, you're going to have a digital ID or like a health passport or whatever. Like, there is no debate. It's already happened because web3, which is built on blockchain and runs on tokens, some of which could be considered cryptocurrencies. Your skill badge from your online course is also a token, and it works on the same technology as cryptocurrency. It's just like, maybe I could trade an NFT of a JPEG that I made. I can't necessarily trade. There's not necessarily like a market for a skill badge for a skill that I earned, but the technology to produce a Bitcoin or a skill badge are the same, basically. The skill badge has some more layers of code on top of it. Layers of code, which is law. Code is law. And I'm an astrologer. I know that you might think that is weird if you were just Googling cryptocurrency for beginners. But astrology is a technology, an ancient technology that takes what has happened in the past and where things are to understand what is going to happen, which is similar to financial markets. It's similar to predictive policing. And this piece of information, this last part, is mostly for people who kind of understand astrology. If you watch my channel, Aquarius, which Pluto's transit of tropical Aquarius has a lot of correlations with artificial intelligence and its integration into the fabric of our lives and our being as a collective, because artificial intelligence is us. It's not so much its own entity as it is us. There's an ancient interpretation of Aquarius, or personification of Aquarius, as a giant. And that is precisely what artificial intelligence is, and what Pluto's transit of Aquarius, now through 2044, heralds. And if you think about everything being logged on blockchain, every single, a worldwide distributed sensor network, recording absolutely everything that happens, making things that are normally qualitative, quantitative, like emotions or emotional interactions. Every single interaction becomes a granular transaction that can be recorded, all being vacuumed up as a distributed sensor network, a prosthesis for artificial intelligence, the giant. So if you still don't understand what cryptocurrency is, then put your questions or need for clarification in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer it. I hope you enjoyed this explanation. And if you like tech news, I do a weekly video on astrology and tech news. And if you like astrology, get my astrology emails at voyage.earth. Okay, thank you for watching.